I'm in historic downtown Knoxville, Tennessee, on my way to meet the Metal Guys, or as you may know them, TMG Pits. They make some of the world's finest live fire cooking devices, to tank offsets, to smokers you can find in backyards all around the world. Let's go meet them.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Hayes.
And we're TMG Pits.
In Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, I got to get back to work, guys. Brandon, it's on you.
Dang it.
Hey, I'm James.
Brandon.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for showing up to the shop.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was looking forward to this one. I've seen over the years a lot of nice smokers, and especially on trailers, sometimes a nice smoker that's just copy and pasted on a trailer. But the first time I saw one of your pits, I knew you did things a little bit differently here, whether it's cable management or the details. Love to just open up. What's your philosophy on designing your rigs?
So we are a little different. I started off in the landscape industry. In that business, employees are very rough on equipment. So I would buy a trailer, and within 6 months of a brand new trailer, we'd destroy it.
Yeah.
From wiring to everything. So that's kind of why we had welders to begin with, is because we were fixing stuff all the time. So when it came to our trailers, we knew how to build them right the first time. So everything we do is a little bit more heavy duty than everyone else. We also always try to build our trailers around the pit. So we're not just starting off with a 16-foot trailer and we're just bolting a pit to it. So everything flows. And also we do cook. We don't do competitions per se, but we do a lot of charity events. We help out our customers at their pop-ups, catering events, so we see what works, what flows, and what doesn't.
The first few 500s on a trailer that I cooked on, there was no workspace. Because you pull these things to a competition, like I did Memphis in May last year, or anywhere else you go, or I've done charity events as well, you need some space to actually get about your business.
Absolutely, and so that's what I tell everyone. So like, Rob Troxler, actually next door, business owner next door, he got us started into building pits. It's kind of how we started building with him. And he wanted shelving. And at the time I was like, yeah, okay, maybe not. And the first time we went and really started using one, I was like, oh wow, you can never have enough shelving. Whether it's something, a pan to put a pan down, to prep on, and that's what's so nice about, like you're talking about the 500 with the stainless steel, like flip up shelving in the back that covers up the wood, is, I think Chris Stafford was here, we did a big event for charity, and we used all 16 foot of his and basically had it as a serving line. So really cool.
Last weekend I did 100 sausages on a 500 at a charity, not mine, I was borrowing. And there was no space, and so like having to bring all those extra folding tables exactly for the serving line, let alone where do you put 100 sausages? Right. It takes up some space. So I appreciate those details that you guys are building into your pits. So there's lots going on around the shop. I'm curious, live fires, we see some tank offsets to backyard smokers. What keeps you busy, or is it a little bit of everything?
It's a little bit of everything. We do have a backlog, usually around anywhere from 4 months to 8 months to 12. We were at 14 months. We've worked it down as we've hired on some guys. Our tanks have really taken off recently. So as you see, there's a lot outside, as you've probably already seen today. But there's also a lot of our backyard smokers sitting up on the hill. Both of them keep us really busy, but I don't know. I really don't know. Like it's constant. It's constant.
Do you have one that you like making more?
Ooh, like making more. I like the tanks. Yeah. Because I think each one has so much character to it, and it allows us to be more artists on it. And I think you kind of can see that in our design. We try to be different. We want them to look cool. And so by doing the tanks, instead of just doing the, kind of the steampunk clear coat look, we can do one that's patina, custom painted patina. Obviously, in our off-road design, you see all kinds of cool, like 3D fabricated parts. Right. It takes extra time, but we go the extra mile, but it looks so much better in the end.
So if I did my research right, your first 3, or you built one for a friend and someone bought it and kind of ended up doing the same thing 3 times over?
So basically, we started off as a fab company back in 2015 in my garage in my house, and we were doing metal signs. And then we transferred into smokers, and the first one we did was for Rob next door. And some random guy walked in the shop for fab work. I was like, I like that, can I buy it? And he bought it. And so then we took and built another one and sold it too. I was like, man, we're onto something. And that allowed us to get going, and then we put one on the internet. TikTok, I think, is what went viral overnight. And that's really what just sent us over the edge.
Without even dancing.
Right. We don't dance. It's really not like really cool stuff. Actually, it's cool stuff.
Yeah, so I was going to ask. So I saw that your grandfather made a pit, and that was great memories. And I think if I read right, your dad is your third generation or fourth generation iron worker, or spinning it now into fabrication.
To fabrication, yeah.
But is that where the love of barbecue for you got started? Sort of core memories.
Yeah. So I mean, growing up, every holiday we were cooking something on the smoker. And then usually if I went to my grandfather's house, we're going to work. You know, whether it's a side project, welding, this and that. Neither my grandfather or my dad would teach me how to weld. Both of them said, hey, you need to go to school. This is hard work. And my dad stops in about every day too. And he's always like, man, you went to school and you still ended up doing this. But yeah, so my dad was a third generation iron worker. I would have been fourth generation, but obviously I'm more fab shop, not iron working.
Well, spending some time, I know as you do TikTok and online, on YouTube, you can be tricked into believing, sort of like Texas barbecue, and that's kind of it. But I've had the privilege, sort of growing up, family trips to, Florida, stopping either in Knoxville, Johnson City, or been to Nashville, competed in Memphis in May. Tennessee's got some pretty great regions and unique twists on barbecue. So what's being located in Eastern Tennessee mean to you?
So again, I grew up basically in this realm of barbecue. At the time, I didn't understand or knew what Texas barbecue was, right? And to this day, I still think some stuff we were doing in the early 90s was Texas barbecue. I think they got the hold on the name, but not necessarily what a lot of people did the whole time. But at this point, I think a lot of it's integrated. Even in, you got Memphis, Kansas City, a lot of those guys still, it's all kind of started integrating, especially with the social media around. Everyone's trying new stuff. Even some of the old pit masters. I mean, you gotta always innovate. And so for me, I just like good food. It isn't about, is it Tennessee, is it Texas? But there is some great barbecue in Tennessee.
There is.
And I don't think it gets recognized enough. But a lot of those guys now are doing, some Texas-inspired barbecue, so.
Yeah, it's awesome. If you get a chance to stop in, you see a side of the road pullover. It's worth the stop.
Right.
So I put you on the spot. Dry ribs, wet ribs, what's your favorite?
Okay, so this is gonna be a trick question.
Yeah,
okay?
it is.
But, well, here's the reason why. Because you say dry versus wet. Are you talking about like, and when it's done, you're putting dry rub on it? Because like I've had some ribs that are really dry at the end, and that's not me.
No.
But like the way I cook them is gonna be, low and slow. But when you pull them off, they're juicy. They got flavor, moisture in them. So it's not just, if you're saying, hey, are you gonna sauce them? Then sometimes I sauce, sometimes I don't. I like a little bit of everything.
Well, and to clarify, I'm with you. And my assumption was neither of us likes dry ribs. we still want sort of that properly cooked rendered, but I meant sort of sauce, no sauce.
I'm both on no sauce and sauce, but I've also had some guys that at the very end, they put their rub back across in a lot of it. And to me, that dries it out.
Yes.
So that's not me. I'm more like, hey, I would take a little sauce over no sauce.
I'm with you. A good glaze.
Yes, a good glaze is great.
100% where I'm at too.
Yeah.
So for the design of your smokers, really curious. There's some people, kind of online that go crazy. It's like it's got to be CFD, modeled. Other people, trial and error. So did that work? Nope. Let's try raising the stack, lowering the stack.
Correct.
Curious, what's your philosophy when it comes to how you design and build your pits?
So we started with more of the backyard pit. Okay, so as you start with a smaller pit on a traditional flow, it's harder to get it dead on. Okay, because as you get the bigger firebox and the bigger tank, it's more gradual heat, gentle, a little bit easier to do. So because of that, on our first pit, it was a lot of trial and error. We designed, changed the stack placement, changed the collector, and then started realizing how they really work. And then from there, we've been able to scale up and realize a lot of it is in the length of the pit, not necessarily the gallon size of the pit. And then obviously stack. Our philosophy is our stacks are pretty big. You can always dial that down, but if it's understacked, you can't dial it up. At that point, it's like I give you as the pit master the option of, our door's open, you have dampers in the door. If you don't want to use one or the other, don't. Because at the end of the day, everyone cooks differently. So I don't think we should design a pit to like, oh no, we're only going to design this pit for this one person to use. Like that, I don't know about that. That's why you see a lot of that adjustability. And like I said, I think the bigger stack does help draw it across, but you can also dial it down.
No, that's nice. There's something I wish people could experience. I did just for kind of YouTube, back around COVID, some of the big box stores, the cheap or cheaper, kind of offsets, but I think they give people sometimes a bad impression of cooking on an offset. It's kind of the opposite. Right, if you look at a big rig versus a Mini Cooper, what's easier to drive? It's like most people could jump in a Mini Cooper, navigate that around town, no problem. The big rig kind of specialized. The offset is kind of the opposite. You jump to a 500 or 1,000, almost with 30 seconds of instruction, you could run a fire, no problem. Whereas you try and do that on a big box model, and it can even keep seasoned people dancing around trying to keep that fire going. Anything that you would share in terms of someone trying to evaluate? Do I go for a backyard pit? Do I get one that I can move around in a cart or a trailer?
So okay. The question I get asked the most is probably, which way do I go with it? Now, obviously, if you know your needs and you've already been smoking, you're going to know what you need. Now, if it's a pit that you're not going to move once you put it in your back patio, casters is fine. But if you think, hey, I'm going to be moving in and out of my garage, these things aren't light. Honestly, I think our lightest one's probably 700-800 pounds. So it's not easy to move, and they go up to 3,000 or 4,000 pounds. So if you're going to be moving in and out off-road pit, if you're going to be taking it to your in-laws place or your friend's house, a trailer pit's always good. But yeah, so going back kind of like the fire management part of it, once you learn on how to do it on a small pit, it's a lot easier on a big pit.
It's so easy.
We found that out too. Like, it's so easy to too big of a fire on a small pit. You can kind of get away with that on a bigger pit. So fire management's key. Learning your pit, and it doesn't matter whose pit it is, what competitor's pit it is, you've got to learn it. And if you think you're just going to go in and do the same thing before, it's going to act a little different. And that's part of the game. It's part of the fun.
Right. That's 100% part of the fun.
Yep.
I think I've owned 7 offsets. I've never gone smaller. And so if anybody is looking for their first pit, maybe considering a little bit more space, you find ways to use it with family gatherings. And if there's a wish with a backyard pit, it's being able to get it places, whether 100%. It be on a trailer or on a cart that you can move around. But you said portability, 100%.
And I think you hit on something too. We've had people call and trade in a 36 model for a 48 or 60 model. I don't think I've ever had someone call to trade in a 60 for a 36.
No.
And so if you can afford it, a lot of times those jumps aren't that much more, just go ahead and get it. And obviously knowing your needs. But here's what happens. You start cooking for yourself, and it's good. Then all of a sudden your neighbors want some, then your church wants some, and then all of a sudden now you're cooking for 60 people or 100 people, and that's where you start running the issue out.
Oh, that's where I got myself in trouble the first time. As a church called and was like, "Hey, we need 400, people fed." And it's like, right? I tell my wife, "I need the trailer now. I need it." Right. Sarah, if you're watching, see. We need it. We need
absolutely.
it. Yeah,
absolutely.
100% confirmed. I might hook something up on the way home.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, that's right. But the other thing I think people maybe don't understand is the cost of wood. So sometimes you think about smaller versus larger. I've been amazed. Now, I've not done sort of a 500 versus the backyard, but when you're getting a fully insulated firebox like what you're doing, it's not near as bad as what you think from a fuel cost perspective, to the point where I've run a cook and I swear I could hold the amount of sticks in my hand difference.
Our 250 is very efficient. Okay, the 3-inch insulated firebox is very, very efficient. People call like, "Hey man, it's a pretty small fire here and it's running 225, 250. Yeah, you're right. So I do think some of the bigger insulated pits actually run more efficient than the smaller ones. So you may actually lose a little less wood on a 250 compared to like a 36 model.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I love new ideas, but not all ideas have sort of stood the test of time and proven themselves out as actually better. I'm curious, in your space, where somebody around the corner always has something new or innovative or a better claim in terms of the backyard offset and smoker. What's your thought on innovation versus maybe just marketing of ideas that are different but maybe haven't been proven out to be what people should be buying?
So I will say this, that when we started, we felt like we were really pushing the industry and being innovative. And you see this in our hinges and some of our design. We were the new guys coming in. We had the ability to look at other pits, see what they did right, see what they did wrong, and kind of innovate there. Obviously, we started off with 2 CNC tables, so that helped us compared to some other companies where they were still hand cutting. So I think technology and innovation should push the market. And if you stop trying, at that point you're done. So I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to build a better pit. Do you have to reinvent the wheel? Probably not. So you're gonna see some of that, like, hey, we're gonna direct the airflow this way or that way. And there's also a thought process, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so, we get a lot of those questions a lot of times, like, hey, is there a deflector plate here? Is this going here and here? And it's like, hey, so what we have found out with the proper fire management and run it the right way, there's not really a need for it. Not saying it doesn't work great. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But just in our testing, it's just, when we're using 95% of the entire pit, it's okay. It's gonna work good. And at the end of the day, like, what comes out is great on it. So.
Absolutely. Well, and I would just say, as someone now who has had some experience owning some and using some different ones of all different sizes, I love the innovation on the details, not just like what's inside the cook chamber, but outside. So for example, I don't think I've seen anybody with sort of a raising stack electronically controlled, like one you shared recently for the Lamb Chop King, or being in a colder climate, for example, moving towards powder coating your trailer frames or painting them, so I don't have to be seasoning large things that tend to rust if they're stored outside. That saves a lot, and I think that's some great innovation. I don't think I've seen a lot of other people spend as much time on the packaging.
It's funny you say that, because I think we've only mentioned in one video everywhere powder coating. So either I told you personally, but you came in this morning and you asked me about it, so you've paid attention.
Well, yes, I saw you're doing it this year. You're starting.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that. So starting really today, I mean, today is the day. We've been powder coating some small stuff. Today will be the first trailer we powder coat. We've powder coated actually since 2015, 16. But we've not powder coated full trailers. So we bought, as you saw earlier, a bigger setup so we can do up to like 22-foot trailers. Obviously, if you have a 27-foot trailer, I can't get it in my oven, but I can go up to 24-foot. But so that's going to be a little different, because I don't know. I'm not going to say we're the only, but I don't know if there's anyone else right now.
I don't think I've seen
either powder coated trailers, which is a more durable finish. It's not. A lot of people think that is a perfect finish and you can't chip it and you can't scratch it. You can. But it's more durable than paint. It's a better finish, and for us, it streamlines the process. For guys who know how powder coat works, it's a lot quicker for us to get in and out and get back to business. And so we're excited about it. And I think, like I said, later tonight, this evening, we'll be powder coating part of the first trailer.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And if you have space at your property where you could back one of these into a garage and keep it safe all the time, maybe not such a big deal. Where I am, it has to, if I had one on a trailer, it has to live outside. And that living outside 365 days a year does mean things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you put your truck outside and park it underneath the tree and don't wash it for a year, what's it going to look like? Oh, it's going to look terrible. And within 4 years, paint's going to be peeling off of it. Well, the pit's no different than that. If you don't take care of it, it's going to wear. It's going, you're going to have that issue. But I mean, for me, one of these pits is like my baby. So I'm going to take care of it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate those details. And I've let a pit go once and then spent days or weeks trying to recondition it, and I wouldn't want to imagine doing that on a trailer. And I think the details that you're building into those trailers for longevity and the quality, the experience, where you can actually just enjoy cooking versus a week of reseasoning every spring trying to get it back to life is a great example of innovation.
Absolutely.
So for anybody who's in the market this year, anything that we haven't covered, about TMG, you guys, like why, for someone who's like, where do I go? Who do I sort of trust? Because these aren't, they're beautiful pits, but it's also not the easiest thing just to pop out, depending on where you are in the country, and get your hands and see one. So you're relying on YouTube and information online. What's something that you'd like to let someone know who's maybe considering investing in your ecosystem? So
basically, we are a custom builder, and I think that kind of, you hit it on earlier with our trailers. We will build a lot of stuff to your wants and needs. So that's what sets us apart. And now I will say this, we have a few rules here. It has to be quality, it has to work, and it has to look good. Okay, and that look good part does get some customers on, like, hey, I want this custom built, but I'm like, hey, that's really just, it's not gonna look good. And so we have turned down jobs, it's not gonna look good. We also have had other big pit builders, most of them actually, have called and sent customers our way on our off-road packages. A lot of them don't want to build their pits on them, or very customized trailers. And you'd be surprised at the names there, and I get it, like when that custom stuff takes time and it slows down the build process. And so that's what sets us apart. If you're around East Tennessee, obviously step in. Make sure you follow us on all our social medias, because we 3 weeks ago we were in North Carolina, we took pits there. We do travel around just a little bit. There is a dealer in Texas and there's a dealer in Arizona, Over the Fire Barbecue and Golf Cart King. And so both those places you can go see them in person. And obviously you're always welcome here at our shop.
Yeah, I just showed up.
Yeah, right?
Hey, you're around. So when you're at home and cooking, what's your go-to? Which are your products you're using most often?
Probably the third most asked question, what's at my house? So at this point, I built myself 2 or 3 pits. All 2 or 3 of them have sold before they made it to my house. So built Hayes a dumpster for his house, sold it before it got to his house. What happens, the customer calls in, I gotta have it today, what do you have? We actually built a few weeks ago safe for here because we do a lot of charity cooks and that just makes it something I can run here. Day 3 it sold to someone in North Carolina. But what I actually have in my house right this second, because I know I'm not gonna sell it because I actually have them in stock, is the forge. I really enjoy live fire cooking. It's a challenge and you have to stay on top of it. So when it's at the house, I can stay on top of it. So I really like that aspect of it. So I have a forge at the house. But I am building myself. Gosh, I should not say this because someone's gonna call on it. We are building our first off-road trailer. So it's gonna be a 250 on a trailer on 35s, like camping edition, basically.
Cool. Yeah.
It's gonna be really cool, and that's actually for myself. Of course, someone's gonna buy it, so we'll see.
That's pretty cool. I got to my RV. I can put a 300-pound hitch on it, so as long as the tongue weight below 300, I might be tempted to do something like that for camping too.
So I got an old Suzuki Samurai that we 4-wheel, so it's actually gonna match it. So we were just doing something just to show people like, hey, if you have, you may have seen the Smoke Scout we did. If you have a vehicle that you want it matched to, we can do it. And we've done it quite often. So I just want to show like kind of our ability to like, hey, I got an old Chevy C10. Can we throw something on airbags and match the wheels? Absolutely. Can we match the paint? Absolutely. Just want to showcase like, hey, we can do what you want.
Right on. I forgot to ask earlier, any installations that you've heard of where customers either have bought and shipped or taken a TMG pit to, globally or domestically, any faraway places or restaurants, things like that you're proud of?
The last time I checked, it was either 12 or 13 countries we're in, which is kind of crazy because we're just East Tennessee boys here. So we have a distributor, Bacoa Barbecue in the UK, and then he'll take, and SoCal Barbecue also, they'll take and distribute across Europe. And then we've had a few that started here, then got shipped, and I can't remember some of the small islands, like in between here and Europe, like just islands I've never even heard of. So obviously Canada. So yeah, we've got them all over.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat to me and to them. Thanks again. Pleasure meeting you.
Awesome. Nice meeting you.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.